Yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
Topic today.
Let's go.
The men's favorite topic. Sex and money. Money and sex. All day, every day. Let's get it.
Great.
Welcome to the Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast with your host, Dr. MyRon Edmonds.
We back in the building, y'all.
Sex and money. Money and sex.
Sir, who's our sponsor today? We got to show love to the people.
Jason, you look a little excited by the topic already, Jason.
Sex and money. Money and sex.
And those two things are related. Amen.
Yes,
of course.
Man.
That's why we got this amazing subject today. And I don't know how we have to make a series out of this.
Yeah.
Who we got today, Kymone? Who's paying the bills?
Listen, man, we still want to promote one more time. Brothers, it's still an opportunity to be a part of the Brothers and Sisters Golf Tournament. We understand that one of the ways that men connect best is through,
Sports.
recreational activities. Yeah, sports. Jason, you golf?
I tried it a little bit before, man. I got a funny
Nice.
story about it, but we'll get to that later.
All right. Well, listen, those of you who are interested, go to brothersgolf.org, brothersgolf.org. It takes place October 9 to 13 at Walt Disney World Resort, Orlando, Florida. Myron, you want to say anything about this event?
No, these are great people, and they got a great event. The event's been going on for years, and it's been a great event for guys who love golf and who love the fellowship to come together. I understand they've allowed women to come now, so if there's some single brothers who love golf, man, this is the best of both worlds. You get to golf, and you get to golf with your boys and some good-looking women.
and then brothers who golf with your wife. I know like John and April, they golf. Both of y'all could come together, so it's a good opportunity to hang with some brothers and also to spend some time with your lady. So
I'll say this: the accommodations are always really nice. The food is like next level. They really pull out the red carpet. This was started by a bunch of physicians and some other professionals. So this ain't no camp out. This is like the real deal. So it should be a good event.
Dope.
nice.
All right. Jaywalk, man. It's been a while, brother. You got this new job now, man, and you're making all this money, brother. So the subject is for you. Money and sex, man. We thought about you, man, while you were out on hiatus doing what you do, man, out there working for Amazon. I think, our guest today actually works for Amazon as well, man. Maybe you guys can exchange some notes. All of y'all get Jeff Bezos money.
Maybe
man.
Amazon needs to be a sponsor.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, what's bubbling on the block, brother? You got any man laws? What you got today, man?
Real quick, man, I'm going to touch on a couple quick things, man. First thing I'm going to touch on is we lost a brother, young rap artist, PNB Block, I believe. Man, I don't know his name for sure, but I did listen to his music, even though I don't know his full name. I know it's PNB something. PNB Rock, I believe. PNB Rock. That is the second young brother in the music industry that we lost in the last year or so, man. We lost young Dolph. He was shot in his hometown. By some people, they say that he knew. So, we are losing our brothers, man. So, guys, when will it stop, man? I hate to sound like a 90s Menace to Society movie, but, when will it stop, brothers? When will we stop killing each other in these streets, man? It needs to stop. It needs to stop, man. So, rest in peace, man, to that brother and his family and the people that are affected by his loss. Also, in the news, real quick, man, so we all know that we lost the Queen. The Queen passed. And I've been seeing a lot of posts about from our brothers and sisters in the community about, should we care? Shouldn't we care? Why do we care so much about the Queen? Mississippi water is still messed up. We got all these problems in the Black community. Why are we talking about the Queen? So my question, man, to the brothers, should we care about the loss of the Queen, man? Should we care? Like, is that something that we should, like, put our time and energy into, the loss of the Queen? Should we, really care that much. When anybody lose their life, I am saddened by that. But it seems like a lot of people are really just going in about losing the queen, man. It's just like we lost Barack or something. They're crying. Shout out to all my brothers across the pond. But should we delve into this, or should we just say, God rest her soul and keep it pushing? How do you feel about it, Kymone?
Well, so interestingly, my background, I grew up in Trinidad, so we have a little connection, right, with the British.
He was crying.
Is that what you call it?
No, I wasn't. I'm just saying. No, I'm just giving
connection.
I'm giving you context. I'm just saying, like, we were part of the Commonwealth, so I understand people's connection, right? Like, I understand up until 62 or something, we were, like, she was our head of state. So I understand some people even outside of England have that kind of, like, because the woman was so old, she was almost an establishment, right? So it's, for some people, this is someone we just always had. Like, she was their parents, so she was always there. So I understand that. But the weird thing is, I think for some of the people who are saying, why are we spending so much time talking about the death of the queen? They spend equally as much time talking about the people who are talking about it. So it's like, we're just as obsessed with it. Listen, we can acknowledge someone died. She was a historical figure. And, if she really doesn't mean anything to you, just keep pushing. If other people have their reaction, let them have it. But don't obsess over their obsession.
It's interesting that Kymone said that they had a connection, and called it a Commonwealth. And as far as I understand, Trinidad is no longer a part of that Commonwealth. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, if you were listening earlier when I said it, I said up until around 62, we were part of it.
I was listening. I just want you to repeat that again, that you guys got free, that you got free from colonization. Yeah. I thought you were going to call it colonization, not a connection. Anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because I don't hear no brothers. God rest his soul. I don't hear no brothers out here. I'm trying to figure out why Jason is even bringing this up on a men's podcast. There are no brothers that I know.
It's a hot topic.
Hey, let me tell you how hot it is, man. There's this, our denomination, they put a post out, and they, were bemoaning the death of the queen, and how, spiritual she was, and she was a champion for righteousness and so forth. And I want you to know, all the Black African brothers and sisters and other folks who were a part of the Commonwealths at some point, the colonization, man, they were none too happy about all of this love they were showing this woman. She is a symbol of colonization to a lot of people, and not just a figurehead, but they feel like she was an active participant in colonization. Matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. My sister, well, I started too soon, but my father-in-law is raised in London, England, and of course moved here to the States. All of my wife's sisters live in England right now. And they were just texting her last night. We literally were talking about this last night, laying down. They were saying they are sick and tired. And these are folks who have, of Jamaican heritage. They are sick and tired of all of the sensationalization over the queen. They wish the people would just stop. And so those are people who are across the pond. And, one of my sister-in-laws, her husband, shout out to Desmond. Desmond is very woke. And I just want you to know, the woke brothers, especially the woke brothers from the Caribbean, I don't hear nobody. There ain't nobody crying over there. I don't hear. Sounds like Kymone is a little. Hey, Kymone
I'm not.
Kymone,
I don't have the same.
I'm gonna tell you why, because we know that Jamaica is more revolutionary than Trinidad.
No, listen. Y'all want to tear up the podcast now. Look, we got Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Carmichael is Trinidadian. Like, don't.
Yes, he is. Okay, all right. Yeah. Come on, that's right.
So, but my point is, my whole issue was, I think
that's good. That's a good clap back, Kymone. Very good.
Yeah, group of people who are feeling her, whatever, and a group of people who are spending as much time talking about the people who are feeling it. And so it's almost like you're obsessing over the obsession. Like, move on. If you don't care about it, move on.
That's a good point.
I think the point is, real quick, and I'm going to close this.
Yeah, I'm tired of talking about this queen. I want to talk about sex and money. As a matter of fact, I'm shutting you down. No, we're not going to talk anymore about this. It's over.
Can I have a little sports tick, though? A little sports tick, man.
No, we got to get it
next week, man. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us a sports take. Give us a sports take.
Never mind. I'm getting wrapped up, man. The wrapping up music is turning on right now. So I'm done. I'm done.
Man,
I want to talk about sex anyway.
We need to have as much time as possible for this conversation today. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce to some. Is this the first time he's been on our podcast?
Yeah, first time.
Okay. All right. Joseph in Nyamwange.
No, I want Jason to introduce him, man. Come on.
You trying to put me out there? You know my big teeth. You know my teeth is not gonna let me say that brother's last name.
Joseph Nyamwange.
Oh my. Anyway, listen. So let me tell you how this podcast came about. Joseph is my coach and I'm his coach. Literally, we have a cross-pollination when it comes to like the influence that we have on each other. He coaches me on all things money and finance, and I just got a chance to spend time with him in his beautiful, sprawling estate down there in Germantown, Ohio. I don't want to say his address. I don't want to say his address because we don't want folks to roll up on it. But man, got a chance to roll up on him. It was a great time anyway. But before that, we had a serious conversation about money and marriage, right? And specifically, I'm just be real, money and sex. All right. Now I got to set this up. So there's a couple of things that I, the little research I did before this, and Joseph is well prepared for this, but there's a text in the Bible. Ecclesiastes 10:19 says, money answereth all things. I looked up that text and I studied that text in preparation for this, and come to find out, this is really just Solomon quoting folly, saying that this is how people in the world think, but this is not true. This is folly. Money doesn't answereth all things. And if anybody knows that, it's Solomon. We'll move on from that. And so, with that in mind, most men do feel, fellas, that money does answereth all things. And the truth is there are some women that help to encourage that. A lot of brothers are under pressure. I'm seriously, man. If you listen to a lot of rap music, I know Jay, hip hop, I know Jay can speak to this. A lot of what I hear from some of the most popular artists is, I'll give you sex if you pay me. That's essentially the message. And I some of the biggest names we know, and they call it a message of empowerment for women or whatever. I'm going to leave that alone, but I'm just saying the message is out there. Look, sex in exchange for money. What have we heard our entire lives? Happy wife, happy life. What makes her happy? Money,
no money,
security,
no honey.
Right? No money, no honey, no finance, no romance. Studies show that, however, men feel twice as more of a burden to provide financially than their women do, even though women are responsible, and especially in the Black community, for 50% of the income in the households. Having said all that, me and this brother had a real conversation the other day. And Joe, you are doing a lot of great things in the financial world. You are not only an investor in real estate and the stock market, and you're doing well. You're a multimillionaire. Unapologetically, we say that. You are responsible for amazing nonprofit and foundations to help people, especially Black people, get out of financial ruin. You're doing a phenomenal job with that. Have helped me, and I'm sure Kymone and others. But dude, let's talk personal today. This is a different angle for you today. You had a conversation with me, and I'm looking at you like, dude, you got the money. Like, bro, you got all that money. You should have perfect marriage. Is that the truth? Does money equal sex for a brother?
Short answer, no. But man, on a serious note, and it's funny, man, I'm listening to everything y'all talking about. And I'm going to apologize in advance, man. I got my children with me, so you'll see me in and out. This is how I'm going to get sex. I'll say that right now. This is doing these kind of things. But, on a serious note, man, look, man, and I share this with you too, Myron, like, money is literally just a piece of the puzzle. It is not the puzzle to get in it. And it's funny when you talk about kind of what society preaches. Let me put it in perspective. That's kind of what I thought going into this marriage thing. I speak very, publicly about my financial distraught, but what I don't share a lot of people, when I was $100,000 in debt, where majority of that debt went to? Trying to impress women. Like, real talk. I'm being honest, and my wife knows this. Why do you think I got my convertible Camaro back in 2012? I didn't get it because I like Camaros and Chevys. I did that because I try to impress women. When I went on dates, I was not going to McDonald's. I was trying to go to the most fanciest place. Why? because I wanted to get up this perception that, yo, I got you covered with me. What drew me close to my wife was Sasha was not impressed by all that stuff. Like I took her to the high-end places and she was like, this is whack. Get me to some really good food. So, I mean, to kind of put it all perspective, you know, I came into my marriage initially thinking, yo, if I'm wealthy and if I build, you know what I'm saying, it the right way, then by default, like my wife was going to be happy. And let me tell you something, man, like the first 2-3 years was rough and your boy was winning financially. I'll take it a step even further. When I retired off my wife, I thought that like at that moment, not only will I be the hero, but I was guaranteed months on it like all the time. And this is a safe space for men. Yo, it was the total opposite, bro. Total opposite. It's now that I'm starting to realize that money needs to be put in its right perspective. And it's an enabler to unlock dreams. But dude, man, like it's much bigger than money. It's like the purpose. And that, believe it or not, it's those kind of things that really why it shifted not even just my perspective, but even the way I'm landing financial literacy. It's not just about making MyRon rich and Kymone rich. I'm trying to give y'all the capacity so that y'all can operate in purpose that pleases the wife, doing God's work. So yeah, man, like that's it for me, bro. There's so much, man, I had to learn, man. But trust me when I tell you, man, it does not. There's no guarantee. That case, all these cats will be happy. Drake, you know what I'm saying? All these other cats that we see on, it's just a piece of the puzzle.
You know what? It's so funny that you bring that up, Joe, because, you know, my wife is the exact same way. You know, like I was doing all this stuff to like have her get this big, oh my God, I'm so happy. Matter of fact, last November, her birthday, I pulled up in the car. I bought her a car, you know, brand new car. Pulled up, baby, come outside. I got you the car that you was always talking about.
This is hilarious.
Her dream car that she always talked about, her Infinity that she sent me a text. I want this. I got everything down to the T.
Yes, you did.
Down to the T, down to the sunroof, down to the T. Pulled up. I felt like the man, like, yeah, you know, I got this new job. I could just buy you a car for your birthday. Came outside. She was just like, this is really nice. Thank you. Man, I almost threw that car down the street. But the funny thing about it is, you know, she really values quality time. So money is not that important to her. What's important to her is that I take time out of my day to really lock into the kids, to help her out at home. You know, another case, this Thursday is our wedding anniversary. I'm like, baby, I'm going to take you to Marble Room. I'm going to take it. She's like, no, that's not done. Okay. You know, and I was so amped about going to this big expensive restaurant, and she just really doesn't care because she cares more about, you know, the things that will help our relationship, help our marriage, help our children, which is building our relationship, building time, spending that quality time, and just locking into her love language. You know, money is my love language, you know, money and gifts and sex and all that stuff. That's my love language. Her stuff is quality time. And all you brothers know, man, because we got businesses and work, you know, quality time is kind of hard to cut out of our day because we just do so much, you know. So when we cut that time out, it's really special to her.
So let me ask you this question, Jason, because I struggled with this in the beginning. Like the more I was providing, it was almost like I felt like my wife wasn't grateful. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she's not excited. I'm like, yo, and then we'll talk. The enemy start playing in the ears like, yo, do you know how many girls would wish to have the situation that you got? And it's almost coming out the tip of my tongue, like, yo, I did you this, I bought you that, not impressed. Man, I had to, like, have you dealt with that, Jay?
Man, we had whole barbershop conversations where I actually took the car to the barbershop, called my boys out, look what I got her, and look at the responses she got. She ain't grateful. You know how many women would love to have a car for their birthday, blase. She ain't no good. She don't really care about me. And, you know, the enemy will play on your mind and start attacking your marriage. Like, well, then I need to probably go out here and find me a girl that really want to go to the Marble Room, that really want a car, that want this, you know. But it's not that. It's just locking into the things that are important to her, locking into her love language. Mama used to tell me, Jason, learn your wife, be a steward of your wife, be a steward of your wife. And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds good. But the things that are important to me that will impress her, that impresses me, is not the same for her. So we just got to know that.
Hey, Jay, can I ask you a question? Did you get some last night? Huh? Did you get some last night, Jay? Huh?
Oh, be quiet, Myron.
I know this Negro. I know him too well, man. The way he's talking right now, understand the way he's talking right now, I know that in the past 48 hours, so the man was blessed because now he's even saying the enemy this and he got to preaching. Hey, look, all right, so let's get Kymone in this conversation because I got a okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me just close off with what y'all was saying with Jason, and I have a question. I think it harkens back to something. I don't know if it was said on the podcast or something.
Jason is right.
John Nixon said this. Is like I think John Nixon said this, like, or someone, like women, we men, we score like if it's football, right? 6 points, 7 points, right? Women, it's like soccer, 1, right? So you do all of that, 1 point, right? Like you think, okay, this is gonna get me like a whole lot, and it's like, nah, that's 1. And I think that's difficult for us because of how our systems are. It's like when I do something big, you think this is gonna get a huge whatever, and sometimes it's like 1-0, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, I just figured out how to count a tennis score. My wife and my sister-in-law, they love tennis, and till last week I didn't know how to count tennis score, and it feels like marriage. That's what we score tennis. But go ahead, Kymone.
All right, but here's my question.
Yeah. Okay.
So the other end of the spectrum, right? The other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
A man who doesn't feel like, man, I'm bringing in what I want to bring in, or like I'm unemployed, I lost my job, or I started some business venture, it's not making the money it's supposed to make. Like, how do you deal with that in terms of like even wanting to, like, it almost feels like you lose value in your own self, so it affects your relationship with your wife. Like, man, I don't feel like you almost feel like you're losing the ability to even ask for what you want. Does that make sense?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, man. Look, so this is why it's so important to marry the right person or to be with the right person. If you're with the right person, in reality, I think the focus is less on the item and more on the dream, right? And so like when we lock in on like, babe, here's the dream. And honestly, I also think we don't communicate enough and share dreams. So, sometimes husband is dreaming one way, wife is dreaming another way, and y'all divided. But if we lock in on the dream, I think there's less pressure to deliver. I'll give you a case in point for me. I remember I was in a really tough spot in my previous job, man, where like I just didn't know. Like I was really targeted for whatever reason. I think it's race related, but anyways, I was targeted for whatever reason. I remember talking to my wife, like, babe, if I lose it all, like if I lose everything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna think of me? And she was like, baby, we'll be homeless together. And there was that sense of like, oh, like now I got, like literally, talk about a safety net. I stopped caring about what the world would think if Joseph went broke, leaned in on my wife, and we locked in on what our dream was. Now I just move differently. Now I like literally, it's almost like, and I get it, we can over spiritualize things, like the Lord will be our provider, but this junk, you get scared, bro. And so I think the key thing, at least to respond, Kymone, to your question, I think that's why it's so important to make sure you with someone who's not just for the money, but who's there for the dream and what you're building. And I think you could always route back to that, regardless of how you go in the journey, man, and keeping those things in perspective. Talk about that often, man, like, and share with your spouse, like, yo, I'm nervous, I'm scared, man. The right person will give you the right encouragement. I don't know what y'all think about that.
That's hard, right? That's hard, right? To say, yo, I'm scared. Like, I'm feeling this pressure, man. Like, I don't care who you are, but as a man, it's hard because you almost feel like that, I don't know, that hyperachiever. I got to be in control of this. I got to provide. I got to be in control. And to admit that is almost like I've come down a little bit on the rung if I even admit that.
But it's between the ears, Kymone. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like this is the self-talk sabotage that we got to be careful of. And that's why I always tell people, take what's in your mind out to the universe. Like literally make your wife or significant other your accountability partner and just be honest. Like, yo, this is what it is. Most times when you expose that, right? That's what the enemy likes, things in dark, man. When you expose that and your wife receives it and she communicates back to you that regardless of whatever happens, Kymone, if we lose the home, if we in these streets and we got nothing, I'm gonna be right by your side. Dude, there's nothing more uplifting than that to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're trying to provide for, you know? So
yeah. I want to say, let me follow up on that real quick. So I'm listening to y'all, and especially I was listening to Jason, really listening, just trying to put in context what he's saying based on what same conversation we had the other day. You know, I heard him on the phone hollering, and now he's in a different place. But anyway,
crazy.
And listening to Joe. So honestly, I think women love the vulnerability, but I think they also love security just as much. And so you can call it money, you can call it security. I know, so me, I didn't know much about money. My parents did not bequeath that to me, right? So the only thing I knew to do with money was to spend it. I didn't know to save it, even saving, none of these things. I thought you get a job. So first thing I did was bought a BMW. I didn't buy a house. That was I didn't have good credit until this year because I got connected with a guy you brought my way. I had good credit, but it lasted 5 minutes. And because, I just made a bunch of decisions and so forth. I will be honest with you. Things have changed in my marriage once I got serious about managing money. They have changed. Now, maybe you guys were handling money and maybe you're on. I was not good with money, and it brought about a lot of stress and strain in the relationship. And it has nothing to do with income. It has nothing to do with the money per se. I don't know, but there's something about me managing money that is attractive to my wife and that makes her want to bun me when she sees that I am minding the store. And I just feel like, I don't know if it's totally pragmatically true to say that women don't care about money, right? Like they only care about other things. I think they want men to be providers. I'm not, and I know that providing is so much more than providing money. We talked about that, Joe. We got to provide experiences. We got to provide spiritually. We got to provide emotionally. There are other ways that we can provide without having to provide money. So any brother that's watching right now, we're not saying if you're not, making money that you're not providing. I think providing is bigger than that because my dad never made more than my mother, but he provided so many other things in the marriage. But dude, let's just come on, Kymone, talk. These women, man, they want security. And there's a lot of stuff connected to that. I'm not saying she ain't going to leave me if I'm broke, but things are a whole lot better in the house when I'm not broke and when I'm managing the money. I don't know. Sex is better when I'm not broke.
Let me see before Joe says something. I think what you said, security is huge. Security is more important to my wife than it is to me. And for you, it sounds, MyRon, like what your wife wanted for more security was you handle the money. For me, I've always been handling the money. I think what my wife may want for security may be something a little bit different. She might want us to have more money or be more prepared for retirement, that kind of stuff. But to your point, security might be the thing, and money is just a tool for that security.
She didn't want me to handle the money, so it's not. So I get your point is a good one. It wasn't that she wanted me to handle the money. It's just that when I did handle the money and what I did with my own personal resources was just irresponsible. It was like a character announcement, like this. Yeah. This Negro is trifling. It's trifling. Like I tell a story all the time. Like, and this is one of the, like being on vacation and being broke, bro. Like when we ran out of money on vacation, and she looking at me and I'm looking at her, and the credit cards is maxed out. We had no money in the middle of a vacation, and that was like a rock bottom moment for me. And she was just looking at me like it wasn't disgust, but it was just like.
Come on now.
Come on.
What are you doing?
You think she won't bun me later on that night when we in the net we overdrafted?
Talk to us, Joe.
Nah, Kymone, you hit the nail on the head though, man. Money is just a reflection or an indication on where your head's at. So when she sees you handling money, Doc, she's saying, yo, MyRon is responsible and a caretaker of where our future is going. Like when
he cares about this. Yeah.
He's careless. And this is why it's important, like, not to go in the extreme. Like you gotta put money in its right place. It's almost like there's this text that always talks about like, Sabbath wasn't made, if you're a Sabbath believer, Sabbath wasn't made for man, right? Man wasn't made for Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man. Same thing with money. Like, you weren't made for money. Like money was made for you. And so a lot of times we got to put this whole thing in a perspective. Now, this is why we do need to also fix society, because that's not the message I was getting growing up. Like I was getting the message like, yo, you make money, you get the bag, then that's the ticket. We've had songs, you got to have a JOB if you want to be with me. So now it's like, yo, I'm fixated on if I get the bag, I get the buns. Dude, I don't, not now, but I wasn't getting haircuts to look clean. I was getting haircuts because I wanted people to look at me a certain way. And so like, I think you're right about security. Like women want security, women want protection. But let me tell you something, if you think making money is protection or having money is solely protection, that's a tool, right? Or a reflection on how you protect your wife. So every scenario, man, is going to be really, really different. This is why it's critical, especially for your viewers listening in. Man, you got to win with money. Don't get me wrong. Money issues is now the number one reason for divorce. But it's not because there are people who are married that divorce because of money, but have plenty of it. That's why it's like, you got to put this in holistic perspective. And that's why, man, look, the huge shift is like, yo, align, commune. And MyRon, you poured this into me. This literally, guys, this changed my marriage. Like I was in a rough patch. I was investing 40% of my money. I had plenty of it. I was on the right, but my wife was not pleased with how I was protecting and providing for the marriage. MyRon was like, yo, what kind of experiences you did? Like, nah, we ain't experienced. We're trying to get a rental property. Bro, we went on multiple trips thereafter. And just like that, night and day. Your boy's going to Orlando, taking kids to Disney. I'm making experiences that are like going to the grocery store. And so my point is that everybody has a different scenario. I think it's critical though that you just got to put money in its right perspective, right? Like don't be a bum, because you being a bum is also saying that like I don't care about my future. But if all you care about is your money, then you might wild out and miss the entire point between, taking care of you and your spouse.
I just had a guy reach out to me on Instagram before the guys get in. And I'm literally going to read to you exactly what he said to me. And I want to hear what your answer is to this without knowing the entire story. Obviously, I just want to know what your initial thoughts are to something like this, Joe, and to the rest of the fellas. Brother reached out to me. He said, I need help. I'm so lost right now. I don't know how to get my finances together. While at the same time, getting my home together with my wife is constantly mad at, and my wife is constantly mad at me, and my children are acting out in school. I'm losing it. So he's got the double whammy. And you made me think about that when you talked about how, money's the number one reason for divorce. And I've had issues with that a little bit. I don't think that's totally accurate, but when you hear the pain from somebody like this, Joe and Jason and Kymone, what kind of, without knowing the whole story, what kind of advice would you have for a brother like that? So many brothers out there who are feeling that pressure. That's why we started this podcast. Honestly, Joe, I told you, man, there's brothers out here feeling that pressure and they out here grinding. But at the same time, the women is like, but you're not at home. Like, I want security. But then if you're going to get security, I can't be here either. Anyway, go ahead. Take a stab at it, Joe, and then Jay, and then Kymone.
Yeah, man. Look, I ain't gonna lie, MyRon, this is tough, bro. And I'm listening to this is something I'm even working on, because I agree, man. Like, you hear stories with Tom Brady. That brother got it all. But even his wife is complaining, like, yo, you need to be home. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, don't you understand? Like, millions of people depend on this guy in Tampa. But I can tell you this, man. Like, the issue with money is not dollar and cents, MyRon. That's usually the output. There's an underlining challenge, and a lot of that is communication and alignment. And this is why it's so important. My counsel to that brother is like, yo, sit, talk with your wife, and become aligned. And alignment might be getting a therapist. Alignment might be just praying together. Alignment might be sharing, these are the struggles that we have. Like once you get alignment on the problem, together you can work on the solution. And there are tools, man. And like we talk about systems, there are tools in place that you can put in action, like to get through it. And I would say one thing, I'd love to hear the other brother's part. Like as Christians, we got a secret power, and that's being content, not complacent, but being content with whatever season you're in, and being able to anchor on that. Like, all right, so this is broke season. We gonna make some sacrifices, but we got to do that stuff together, man. Like, and this is the problem. Like a lot of people, and I've coached many couples, by the way, and one of the biggest things that irk me is when I see a husband come and say, "I'm gonna get my whole money together," blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Where's your wife at?" Always ask them, "Where's your wife at?" Oh, nah, she gonna follow suit. That right there shows me there's disalignment. Like y'all not together, and so everything starts with proper alignment. If you're not aligned, all this stuff falls apart. But Kymone, Jason, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead, Jay. What you think, man?
Yeah, like I will say, you will find out how strong your marriage is when you hit a financial hardship. That's when you know how strong and how rooted your marriage is. We've talked about this on the show before. I came into a rough spot, at my job. I thought I was being targeted and all that stuff. And my wife told me, she was just like, quit. I was just like, well, what are you going to do for money? She said, I'll work. She said, quit. You need to quit. If you're unhappy, if you're stressed out, you need to quit. We'll be okay. And the obstacle with that was, I had to get over myself. I was just like, well, I'm the man. Like, I need to provide. I'm unhappy, but I'm going to just keep on grinding it out until sun comes. But it was taking effect on my home as well. Like come home upset, didn't want to talk to nobody, didn't want to play with the kids because I'm just pissed off because of the day, But at that time, you really have to sit down and just value what's important. Is it, the money? Of course, you got to make some money. Of course, you just can't sit on your butt all day. You got to get out there and grind. But, it's just realigning, just like what you said, Joe, what's important. I want my pockets to be as fat as how good my marriage and my kids and how my house is running, So just realigning. And, it's a balancing act, man. You got to balance, what's important, They're both important, but you got to balance, how can you get the bag and how can you keep your house stable
and the booty.
and the booty.
I think
having secondary jobs and stuff like that, and things that we do on the outside, it's some stuff that I got to turn down. Like, no, I can't do that this weekend because I got to be at home with my family. I can't take this gig because I got to be at home with my family. You have to turn some things down.
That's good.
Yeah, I think to the person who reached out to you, I just want to first of all, if you're watching this at all, commend you, because the first line that you read, MyRon, is "I need help," and I think that's the starting point to admitting I need help. Now, the next step I would say to that person is to kind of go what everybody's saying, connect with your wife and say, no, we need help, right? Like we probably can't figure this out by ourselves, right? Because if we could have, we would have already, right? If we could have figured out how to do this, we would have done it already. So I know this might seem hard. And for some people, one person might be more willing to seek help than the other, but it's almost to say, listen, I know you might think we got this, but I don't see it that way. Would you be willing for us to talk to someone? Because the money thing is an issue, but it's not the biggest issue. As Joe is saying, like money reveals that there are other issues. And sometimes you talk about money being the number one reason for divorce. It's sometimes, if you peel the layers back, there may be something behind it, or it's the thing that just tips you over the edge. So to that person, you need help. And I commend you for saying that. And y'all need help. And I think I just want to encourage you to seek that together.
Yeah, man. Hey, so let's wrap this up. Joe, I want you to look in this camera and talk to
I got some question for Joe.
I'm sorry.
I got one more question. Let me get one more question into him if you can. I don't know how much time we got.
Go ahead.
Well, Joe, how many, you talk about money and people being aligned. How often should couples talk about money, their money situation together?
Yeah, good question, man. In the beginning, often. Like it's a muscle that you got to work, right? And so it's almost like I would even encourage weekly. And it may not necessarily, like people think talking about money means Excel spreadsheet, dollars and cents. Like sometimes it's all a budget really is your dreams translated to paper. And so like this is why I always tell couples dream together. Like, where are you going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, babe, I want to be financially free here. I want to be able to travel 3 times a year here. I want to do something that's bigger than me. I want to open up a community center. And then a reflection, like, babe, if this is our vision, how does our dollars align to that? And so that's why I say do weekly check-ins on what the dream is, and also talk about our money. Like, how are we spending? How are we doing? Once you develop that cadence, like me and my wife have a pretty good cadence. By the way, my wife hates like detailed budget. She's more of a free spirit. So I'm very careful on how I bring it to her. So I'm in deep thought, like, you know what I'm saying? But when we package that thing, like we spend literally every single month, we always talk about how we're doing. And if I'm seeing red flags that we're spending too much, I'm calling family meetings. I think the other thing that we started doing, I started bringing my daughter in, like my oldest, like, yo, come in, Jade. I want you to see how we're doing this. This morning, I took my babies to our rental property because I'm getting them exposed. And so to answer your question, Kymone, I talk about it often, but it's not in dollars and cents always. Sometimes it's like, where we going this year? What are we trying to accomplish? This is what's going to cost. This is the sacrifice we have to take for us to get there. And I'm telling you, man, it's been revealing for us. And I would lastly say this, for folks who are dating and looking at marriage, yo, make that part of your premarital counseling. That's what I did. We spent 8 weeks. I'm like, babe, too many people losing our money. That's going to be our strength. And so, yeah, put that into perspective. But that's how often I talk about it, Kymone. Like in the beginning, like weekly, and then like as you get it, that muscle worked, monthly, and just also talk about, not just dollars, cents, but dreams.
Yeah, it's funny you said talk about it because I think a lot of couples do talk about money, but it's a lot of arguing. There's not a lot of proactive, let's plan, what's the strategy, how we doing. That's something that Shanae and I have been doing regularly based on your influence. And, I just want to shout you out and thank you, brother, for just being on the podcast and for what you're doing to help Black couples and Black families. You got a dream to create, hundreds and thousands of Black millionaires. But I just want to ask you, man, just, real talk. This is a men's podcast. There's a brother right now, just like this brother here, super frustrated. And he got money. He's making money. Money is not the problem. But the issue that he's struggling with, man, is the tension of making these sacrifices to bring in this money. But man, he still can't connect with his wife. And he's still struggling to feel the, we got a lot of successful brothers in these groups that we're with, and money is not. Matter of fact, Kymone and I we had a mastermind. Every guy in the mastermind, we asked him, what's the number one issue you got going on right now? None of them said money, like none of them. And this was legit. They all had issues connecting. How do you do that, man? When you're a high performing, man who's out there, who's got a vision, got a foundation, got a business, and works for Amazon and got all these different things going on, man, how do you stay grounded, man, so that you don't lose your mind in your marriage?
Yeah, man, I would say this. First off, if that's what you're going through, I've been there. Maybe not, I'm not going to say I've been there. I'm going through there, right? So it's a constant notion. It's not to say that you never get over the hump, but you have to continuously guard against what we always thought it was to be successful. But let me tell you from experience, MyRon. With my wife, I went from broke to, for all intents and purposes, wealthy. But becoming wealthy has not been the solution to my marriage. So if someone who thinks that, if I just get the bag, my life is gonna be right. The way I win is me saying to my wife, don't worry, baby, I got the kids today, regardless of what I'm doing. Like this is how winning looks like. And so what I want to tell everybody is, make the main thing the main thing. Like stuff you've been preaching, MyRon, win in the things that matter. This is not to say neglect money. No, don't neglect money. But what I am saying is that put money in its right perspective. And here's what putting money in its right perspective means. It's sitting with your wife and listening to her. Like, babe, what do you want out of this life that we got to live?
That's a fact.
What does legacy look like to you? Is it your children's children? Like, is it your community? Like, go like dig deep. Like, get into the deepest dreams that may have been held back because of the trauma she's been through in her life. Unlock that. Let that be the engine. And say, okay, babe, we're going to use money as a tool to do this. My wife wants to empower women, bro. She was a single mother before we got married, and she wants to make sure that other single women who've been casted out in our community realize that I had to unpack that. It wasn't just telling her don't work no more. It's okay, maybe if this is the dream, I'm gonna pour into whatever you're trying to get done. Make that shift, and I promise y'all, it'll get better. And this is why it's so important to be responsible, is because when you're careless with your money, you're not in a position to solve these problems. Now you become a slave to whoever you are. That's it. Like you're becoming a slave to Visa. You're becoming a slave to MasterCard. You're becoming a slave to whomever you're borrowing from. And this is why I'm trying to tell people to become free. And if y'all do that, man, I promise y'all, man, like you're gonna be winning.
Oh, man, that's good. And honestly, man, you saying this with your kids in the background adds more credibility. I ain't tripping at all. You ain't got to mute for me. I think that makes the point even more poignantly that you are right now demonstrating a lot of the stuff that really brings the joy that our spouses are, they're looking and longing to see. And, as men, sometimes we get locked in on one thing that's our passion. And there's a lot of brothers here who have improved financially. You're bringing in the resources and you feel entitled. I don't know about y'all, but it's almost like, hey, man, if I get a right gift, I get the car. If I increase my income, all these type of stuff, you feel like if you do those things, it's almost like now where them draws at? Where is this at? Where's the affirmation at? Where's the the affection that I'm looking for? All these things that men are looking for, we feel like that we don't have to invest anything else except money. Yeah. And then we should be good. And that's a false assumption. And I think Joe is sitting there right now in that big old house, that big old 10,000 square foot house with his kids. Hey, listen, if he had them kids in a 800,000 square foot house, he'd be good with his wife because it ain't the house. It's the home that he's created. And that's good. Do you want any closing thoughts for the fellas real quick before we wrap this up?
I want to say this real quick because you said something that sparked me. Be careful who you get information from. Mm-hmm. Every time I talk to guys who are single, like, yo, you do all that? Man, they should be eating off your fingers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they should be doing this, that, and the third. There's a reaon why I don't get married advice from non-married people. Like, there's a reason why I go to people, and no disrespect to singles, but there's a reason why, I'm be careful who I'm getting my information from because it could translate to something bad. So people like myself, yourself, Jay, Kymone, people who are good dudes who can keep things in perspective. And don't get me wrong, we still got the same urges. Like, trust me, your boy wants to get the draws too. But there's ways around it, man. And so I just want to just add that, bro. Like, man, like tap into the information you're getting here, the things that we're doing. That's the reason why I'm even doing this conference. Like I'm doing this financial legacy conference in a couple weeks because I'm literally putting the emphasis back on legacy. And so,
well, tell us about it, Joe. Tell us about the conference. Let's in there. Tell us. Yeah.
The first weekend of October, September 30th and October 1st, we're partnering with Church of the Oranges and NJCU to bring information to people at no cost to the people, where we're going to be delving into what legacy is all about, right? Matter of fact, we're bringing you to speak, MyRon, on that Friday night, and we're going to worship. Like we're going to worship. People think we're just talking about money. No, we're going to bring money back into its proper context, which is building wealth God's way. And then on Saturday afternoon, 5 to 7, we're going to talk about giving people the tools to win, right? Like how to make sure you're protecting your wealth, how to deal with the enemy, the elephant in the room with debt. But not just debt, though. How do we actually make sure that we're investing long term, right? And living out our purpose. All these things are going to be talked about this weekend. Again, it's a free. I hate using that word free sometimes because people think it costs. No, it costs money. But this is my gift to the community. I'm paying for it.
Where can they register for this? Go to
www.financiallegacyconference.com. It's going to be in Jersey City. We'd love to see people there, man. So definitely
Jersey City, right there. If you're in the New York area or anywhere on the Eastern Seaboard, tri-state area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, you're not far away. And come on out and hang with us. I'm gonna put this on the screen so that folks can see it. Yeah, man. Good stuff, fellas. Y'all got any closing thoughts that you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Real quick, man. Got to lighten the mood a little bit, man. Y'all brothers was getting super.
You started it with your little soliloquy about to cry over there because you just got a
whatever
the other day.
So real quick, yes or no answer, and I don't want nothing but yes or no. And then we could pick this up the next podcast that we talk about marriage and money, because we just made a little shift in my household and I don't know how I feel about it. Should men pay for all the bills? Yes or no?
No.
I mean, is that debatable? Is there a debate with that? What do you think, Joe?
Look, this has to be a cliffhanger for the next one because I want to know where this is even coming from.
Hey, look, man.
No.
Yo, much love, fellas. Y'all have a good one, man. This is a great discussion. Make sure y'all subscribe to this podcast on all of the outlets. Where they at? And make sure you give us a review.
Leave us a rating and review. So go to shiftmenspodcast.com. You'll see us, all the links there. But we need reviews. So those of you watching this, we need reviews. Go to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review on there. That'll help more people to find the podcast.
All right, we out here.
We out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get Your Shift Together Men's Podcast. For more information, please visit our website, menswinningscircle.com. That is, menswinningscircle.com. Let's win in the things that matter.